What it do, bitch-ass crew? KFC. Chris, make sure we sit the hell down, bro, because we got Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman debating about if Carmelo Anthony would have won multiple rings on my favorite all-time team, the 2004 Detroit Pistons. So, obviously, that season could have only won one, but I'm talking about, if it would be like a dynasty. So, we're going to check this out and see what the guys say about it. I'm going to give you guys my opinions, of course. But yeah, man, on my main channel, Crispy Flakes, link description below, I actually did do a video about this, like a what-if simulation thing. Go check that out, man. It was from, a few days ago. But let's see what this is all about.
If I would have went to Detroit, I know I'd have had maybe 2 or 3 rings.
Maybe 4, maybe 5?
You know what I'm saying? But
well, yeah, you definitely would have had 2, Wade, and you wouldn't be getting one until LeBron James came to Miami. Because we would beat your team in 2006. Like, that would have happened with Melo.
I don't know how everything else would have played out after that throughout my career.
You would have left. Come on now. You would have left. You weren't going to stay with Detroit.
In an Instagram live chat with Dwayne Wade, Carmelo
Hate to
Anthony
say.
says that if he had been drafted 2nd overall by the
Don't want to see
Pistons
that, man.
back in 2003 instead of Darko,
Darko, by the way.
he would have had maybe 2 or 3 rings. As it stands, despite being a 10-time All-Star, Carmelo has 0 rings.
Yo, him and Chauncey Sheen? Big Ben?
So tell me this. If he had been drafted by Detroit, would he have multiple chips?
He'd have at least one. I can promise
Yeah, at least.
you that. Possibly 2. Let's remember something here. When Joe Dumars, an otherwise exceptional executive that I still believe should have an executive's position in the NBA today.
Joe Dumars had a nice streak. But towards the end of his tenure, he made a lot of dumbass choices. He made a lot of dumbass, I was calling him Joe Dumbass. Like, it just got to that point. Yeah, it was due diligence to let him go.
The most glaring mistake he ever made was drafting Darko Milicic, but let's understand why he did that. As egregious as some may think that is, he had Tayshaun Prince with Rashid and Ben Wallace. With Rick
Sheed wasn't there yet.
And Chauncey Billups.
Sheed wasn't there yet.
With the Lindsey Hunters of the world coming off the bench. And Carmelo Anthony's rookie year, the Detroit Pistons won the title. That's when they beat the Lakers. The next year, they went to the NBA Finals and lost in 7 games to the San Antonio Spurs.
To a dumbass Rasheed Wallace freaking leaving Robert Horry wide open.
But Rasheed Wallace forgot to guard Robert Horry in the left corner, who drilled the 3.
Damn, bro.
And obviously, that enabled San Antonio to escape from Detroit with a victory and ultimately win that series in 7 games. Those 2 Piston teams, Melo would have been coming off the bench.
Not
and I'm
guaranteed.
telling you right now, there ain't no way in hell they wouldn't have won. I believe they would have won titles both years. They had to beat the Lakers anyway, and they had to beat San Antonio.
Yes, sir, but I don't think, I don't know. I could see the first year Melo coming off the bench, and then maybe the second year he starts over Tayshaun. Just because, Larry Brown typically wasn't very good at, he didn't really like playing rookies and stuff like that. So, let's be honest, maybe Darko goes to a different team and ends up flourishing. No, that's not, no, I'm just joking. That's not true.
And Melo would have been coming off the bench because the Pistons were the #1 defense the year they won the title.
Right.
And they were #2 in defense when they lost the title the following year to San Antonio.
But the offense of Melo would have helped.
7 games. The only thing that I would say about Melo is this. Melo is going to be a Hall of Famer. The Basketball Hall of Fame is not just pro, it's your collegiate career and all of that other stuff. We know he was a champion at Syracuse.
Bro, he these bitch-ass things
big time scorer,
off like that.
21 a game as a rookie. A fabulous offensive player. But the one thing that you can hold against Melo is what I've said religiously. It was never supposed to be Bosh. It was supposed to be D-Wade, Melo, and LeBron. D-Wade.
Why do I feel like I hear like a fan? That must be on their side.
LeBron and Bosh were willing to sign contracts in 2007 that allowed them to be free agents in 2010. Melo wanted the whole deal. He wasn't trying to give away no money.
He wasn't going to sacrifice either as a third option.
Had to delay his departure from Denver until a year later. Then when he got to New York, he should have left earlier than he ultimately did, but wanted to stay in New York playing for the billionaire that was Dolan.
Well, he got the bag, too, out of it, so.
Madison Square Garden, instead of landing himself with a better team. So on 2 occasions, he cost himself an opportunity to be with a better team, better players, and have more help because he wanted the money. That's the
Businessman
only thing that
first.
you can knock Melo about. But I promise you, if he were in Detroit, he'd have 2 rings.
Would have been perfect. Would have got his rings early on, and then he could have focused and made all those choices and would not have no backlash for it. Now, he would have been a lifer.
I disagree with the Detroit point, but I will say this. Carmelo Anthony, in this universe, he didn't win any championships. In a lot of others, like you could play it out again, and with some differences here and there in the details, he may have won multiple championships depending on where he would have gone. If he'd have gone to San Antonio, for example, obviously if he's with the Heat with LeBron and Wade, he would have won championships.
There's no guarantee of that, though. There's no guarantee. Like you are literally knocking off too much about Bosch's sacrifice to that team and being a willingness third option. Like, that's what they needed. Like, Melo, it would not have worked. It just wouldn't have with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. Because one of those 3 guys would have had to give him something up, and, it wasn't going to be Wade or LeBron.
And there's some teams where they really needed a primary scoring option like that back in the ISO ball era where Melo would have been the guy and they could have won championships. It's not that he couldn't have been a championship player, but Detroit is a specific play. Look, the Darko draft was an outrage. It's like, even at the time, in retrospect, we know that, but at the time, like, are you kidding? Carmelo Anthony?
I mean, true, yes. But if you look at the draft scouting for Darko, the guy was literally talked upon like he was supposed to be like a generational big man. So, I mean, it's easy to look back at it and everything. But, at that time, I still personally, because, I don't know, I still personally would have went with the college player, so the man from Syracuse, Carmelo Anthony. But it's so much easier to look back and be like, that was a bitch-ass choice. But, I mean,
there were some people asking whether after Syracuse won, is Carmelo the number 1 overall pick? I disagreed with them, but it's not like they didn't exist. Carmelo was a great, great player. The Detroit team, though, you're forgetting. It's not that they couldn't have beaten the Lakers in the finals with Carmelo on that team. But what really made that 04 team special was that they were, in my opinion, well, I'll tell you this. They were the greatest defensive team I've ever seen.
Yo, Max, there we go.
In my lifetime.
First time
St.
W.
Louis Cardinals with Ozzie Smith and Keith Hernandez had some great teams. Obviously, the Baltimore Ravens and the Chicago
greatest
Bears
defensive
had some
team.
Great defensive
Yes, sir.
teams. They won championships, all the places I just mentioned. But the Detroit 04 team, my dad used to tell me stories, Stephen A., of the Knicks used to hold teams under 90. The Detroit Pistons used to
hold you under 60.
Hold teams under 70.
60,
the
bitch.
04 Pistons. It was absurd, and the reason
70.
for that, there was no weak links. Who was the weakest link on defense? Rip Hamilton in the starting 5? That was their calling card. So
not really.
The Lakers series, Carmelo, they win anyway. The Indiana Pacers series, that was the best defensive series I'd ever seen. 7-game series. I don't know that if you add a defensive weak link there, even if you get more on offense, you even get past the Pacers. Maybe the next year when they came close, adding Carmelo helps them win maybe 1, but multiple rings.
I don't know. I mean, obviously Tayshaun Prince was the team's best perimeter defender. He blocked Reggie Miller, but at the same time, it's like they might not have even been in that situation because it's like the defense of the Pistons, and even like Melo defensively, I mean, obviously, yeah, he wasn't Tayshaun Prince, but I feel like maybe being around guys like Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace might have escalated Melo to another level, maybe. So
it's as though you replay 04 and they do it with Carmelo instead. I don't know about that.
Yo, Stephen A. Smith is.
I vehemently disagree with you. I think they got a multiple championships.
Thank you.
I'll say this. So much of being in the league has to deal with the condition in which your first team is that you get drafted to.
Yes,
right?
sir.
I'll give you a small example.
He would have been damn defensive juggernaut.
I came out of college running pick and roll every possession. Every possession. My first year with the Bulls, we ran the triangle. Like, I had no idea what that offense even was. And, by the way, our
nobody does to this day.
Different. So when Melo goes to Denver, he's automatically the alpha. People are doing what Melo wants, which I think really kind of shaped up the ego of Melo as that transcended his ultimate career, right? But if Melo comes in to the Detroit Pistons and he is a guy like Chauncey Billups, big shot Chauncey Billups that says, "Come here, Melo, I got you. I'm going to show you how to work."
Yeah, I mean, Chauncey did play with Melo later on. I believe, yeah, they were on the same team. Yeah, because he got traded for Iverson. Melo was on that team, right, with Chauncey? I have completely forgotten. I don't know if they actually did play together. Maybe not.
I'm going to show you how to be a pro every single day. Yeah, you might be coming off the bench, but yeah, you can start if you got better defensively. every single day in practice. Go at Tayshaun. Go at all these different guys. I think the trajectory of Melo's career would have been drastically different. Yes, I think he would have been an elite scorer, but I think we might have seen Melo turn into a completely different player earlier in his career that might have changed which team he might not have even left Detroit for his entire career. You never know that.
Okay. There's a part 2 to this, guys. This one's called Stephen A. Gets Heated over Max downing Carmelo have rings with the Pistons. Let's hear it.
He took over a Carlisle team, but the bottom line is he did it. Phil Jack, don't get me started. The point that I'm trying to make to you is the Detroit Pistons with Benny and Rasheed Wallace, with Tayshaun Prince, who was an elite defender.
Elite? What are you shaking your head no for? What is he shaking his head no for?
Chauncey Billups, who, by the way, Max, that is the only time Carmelo Anthony went to a conference finals. When Chauncey joined him in
yes. I knew they played together.
Until Chauncey got there.
The Chauncey effect is a good
you
point.
Will notice one time, hold on. I'm giving you knowledge. Fall back.
Fall back.
They were in a club.
I wish you would, Max. I will make another video telling people to get you off ESPN. The other one already got 50K views. I'll do it again, man.
Jay, this is a true story. They were in a club. This is when they were going to the conference finals. They were in a club. Chauncey was with them. He had just arrived 2 weeks earlier. Chauncey put up his finger in a crowded nightclub and pointed to the exit. And everybody on the Denver Nuggets turned around.
That's some alpha dog shit, man.
A leader. That's what he was. And this dude was in Detroit before then with Rip Hamilton and Lindsey Hunter and the crew. And you're sitting here on national television telling us that a team that won the title without
Big
Melo,
Nasty, too.
that went to back-to-back NBA Finals without Melo wouldn't have had a title with that team?
And don't even mention, you can't even see that, 2 back-to-back finals, but 6 straight Eastern Conference appearances.
No, I said he maybe gets one. I said the following year would have been a better bet, but I don't know if they get past the Pacers with Melo on that team, unless you go back and say the Chauncey Billups effect is such that Melo would have become a real defender on that team, which I suppose is possible.
They beat the Pacers
bottom
to get
line
there.
is either one of you two picked the Pistons to beat the Lakers. I picked the Pistons to sweep the Lakers. I was wrong.
Yeah, right.
It was a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah,
Kobe
right.
Bryant got one in L.A. I believe I was the only member of the national media at the
I don't
time
believe
who
it.
even picked the Pistons
Somebody sent me proof of that on Twitter at ChristyFlakes2K.
to beat the Lakers, and I thought they'd sweep
The man has
them.
come to the studio
Don't tell
drunk
me
tonight.
about
You
the
are
04
right. You're
Pistons.
right about that.
What made them?
Well, listen.
Made them special?
We're not telling you about the Pistons.
What made them
We're
special
saying
was
that
the
you
defense.
you said they wouldn't win with Melo.
I mean, is Melo going to bring that team down that much defensively and, not make up for it offensively?
No. Well, no.
That's what we're saying.
They may
Don't
have
confuse
gotten
the
one
argument.
at some point.
You said they.
Well, also, sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But also, you also got to realize, too, that in those first few Piston games, Rasheed Wallace was, in a ton of foul trouble. The man wasn't playing, the first whole game, half. I think it was, game 2 or something like that. Might have been game 1. So, I mean, even, in that case, Tayshaun would have still been out there, but you would have also had Carmelo in the game with Tayshaun Prince, making up for Rasheed couldn't do offensively being in foul trouble.
They wouldn't meet with the same team because it would have been the same team would not have won with Melo. That's what you said.
Right. Well, I don't know that they get past the Pacers. That series was impossible. That was the best defensive 7-game series I've ever seen. And
right, they already beat them, exactly.
No, I'm saying if you insert a guy who's not a good defensive player. That Melo comes off the bench. I like your Chauncey Billups argument, but I don't know that they win that first chip with him, even if they may win one subsequently with him. That Pistons team was the greatest defensive team, starting 5, in my opinion, of all time. If you insert a weaker defender, you're saying off the bench, fine, but a guy who's getting big minutes, who's a weaker defender, they lose that identity a little bit.
But the offense, you get back.
Necessarily. Just to assume.
The man, rookie Melo dropping damn 50 a game on Ron Artest.
You add a great player, therefore they get better. It's not the way it works.
No.
Probably not 50.
All I'm saying to you, Max, is that coming into the league, when you come into a system, it's like coming and working with Pop, right? You understand that there are certain expectations, there are certain standards of excellence that you have to live up to, and that's every single
Especially
day.
Larry Brown.
Now, when Melo was in Syracuse, he played zone. He didn't individually have to lock in as a defender. I saw Melo lock in as a defender when he got lost in battles in high school. He was a different kind of cat.
And guess what? If Melo wasn't bringing it defensively, you know what would have happened to him? Larry Brown would have threw his ass on the bench like Darko, and he would have still got a ring, but he wouldn't get no PT. And we would have just won that way. Like, if Melo wasn't playing up the standards, that's exactly what would have happened.
So I'm saying if you're surrounded...
So yeah, he would have got a ring, have it be a Darko ring or a Melo ring.
And then helping your game elevate because you have guys who are smart, who help you think through the game instead of just automatically walking into a franchise and it's like, I'm the guy, I'm the alpha, we're going to do it the way I like. It's a completely different mindset. And I truly believe if Melo had had that mindset at that time with that team, overall that team's mindset, you would have seen a different Carmelo Anthony and they would have won multiple championships with that guy scoring off the bench.
Multiple.
Question especially for you, Jay, but for both of you. Stephen A. also, what do you think Carmelo's limit as a defender was? What kind of defender could he have been? Because to me it seems like he was either against the 4 or the 3, there were problems either way. What kind of a defender is the best version of what he could have been?
Not Tayshaun Prince, but he could have been fine. He would have been fine.
With Chauncey Billups from a rookie season.
Well, first of all, let me answer.
I'm going to say, Stephen A. I just needed him to be serviceable. He just needed to be serviceable, Stephen A.
He just needed to be serviceable in that system. You got to remember, once again, Max, you keep forgetting. I covered Larry Brown his first all 6 years he was in Philly. This dude had a guy by the name of Allen Iverson and surrounded him with defenders. Allen Iverson was no better a defender than you.
The guard version of Melo, you know?
Described Melo to be, but they went to the finals because of what you surrounded him with. If you got a coach that knows what the hell he's doing, that systematically inserts and takes guys away from a place to make sure that the team is cohesive enough, that's how you overcome that. And then you said something that was absolutely blasphemous and ill-informed.
Let's hear it.
Under no circumstances was there any doubt that LeBron James was the #1 overall pick the year that he was drafted with Carmelo Anthony? There was nobody talking about Melo going #1.
Maybe some dumbasses.
No one.
Well, I spoke to people at the time. Everyone knew LeBron was going to go in 1. But I spoke to people at the time who watched Carmelo and thought, oh, should he go 1? Which they were wrong about, obviously.
Really?
Who are those people, Max? I want to know their names.
What names?
Who are they? Positions they're in right now.
I'm not asking you your sources. I'm not asking you your sources. I mean, did you meet him at Columbia? Did you meet him at Columbia? I mean, wait. Were they at the MIT Institute? I mean, was it a member of the Sharp Analytics staff? Who the hell were those people?
No.
I never met them. I've only been covering the NBA for a quarter century. I never met them. I've never met him. I've been covering the NBA for a quarter century. I never ran across one person that said that. Not one. Not one person.
Damn, Stephen A.
I remember these things.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the video right there, man. I mean, as usual, I agree with Stephen A. Smith on this one. But what do you guys think? How many rings would the Pistons have with Carmelo Anthony?